I'm Adrian, and welcome to another episode of Fight Scene Breakdown. In this series, we take a look at an individual scene in a movie or game in terms of its story, cinematography, editing, and fight choreography, and analyze each individual component. There are already over 60 videos on this dedicated playlist, and today we're taking a look at the epic fight of Thanos versus Iron Man, Captain America, and Thor in Avengers Endgame. It has all come down to this, a final showdown. The stakes are at an all-time high, as if Thanos obtains the Infinity Stones, he has threatened to not only wipe out half of all life, as he did in Infinity War, but eliminate all of it to start anew. What makes this fight even more intense is that it's something that was built towards across all the other films, especially Infinity War, and each character has a deeply personal investment in its outcome. Just so you know, there are spoilers ahead for both Infinity War and Endgame. Iron Man has already faced off against Thanos in a one-on-one battle, and despite putting up quite a good fight, he lost, and ended up getting stabbed with his own weapon. Not only that, he had to see the closest person he had to a son disappear right in front of him soon afterwards. Thor obtained the ultimate weapon, Stormbreaker, and despite arriving into battle at the nick of time, was unable to kill Thanos by not going for the head, something that stayed with him as he unceremoniously chopped Thanos' head off when he got a second chance. The guilt tortured him for years, with him ending up as a washed up shadow of his former self. And lastly, there's Captain America, who initially saw Thanos for a few fleeting seconds and put every ounce of his willpower in trying to stop him from advancing. Thanos even briefly recognized the astonishing strength and determination on display before dispatching him with an effortless punch. And here they stand again, knowing that if they fail, this time it may be for good. The fight starts off excellently. You get a medium close-up of Thor yelling, Iron Man powering up into action, and then we cut to an awesome wide where we get to see all the heroes in action. This would have been virtually perfect had we hung around just a little longer, but a few seconds after the fight begins, we cut to someplace else. This is an editing choice that happens in final battles. Sometimes it's done masterfully, like it was in Star Wars Episode 3. In Episode 3, the third act is cutting between Obi-Wan's epic duel with Anakin, as well as Yoda's final battle with Emperor Palpatine. But at no point did you ever feel like you were missing something awesome that was taking place at the other location. But in the case of Endgame, it doesn't really work in this instance, as we don't get to enjoy the battle that just started seconds ago because we're immediately cutting to someplace else with little to no action. Once we cut back to the battle at hand, things get a lot better. The cutting and framing of everything makes complete conceptual sense, and at no point do you feel lost or that you miss something. For example, it's very clear how Thor's thunder powers up Iron Man, who then fires at Thanos, who easily deflects it. Later on, there's a fantastic sequence of shots to heighten Thor's seemingly impending doom. You see the medium wide of Thanos trying to press Thor's weapon into his chest, you see Thor's desperation, and then you get an extreme close-up of the axe almost going through the armor, followed by Thanos' look of confidence. Then suddenly you cut to Mjolnir. And at this point, the audience has a feeling of what's going to happen, and that is soon confirmed with this excellent tracking shot of Captain America, triumphantly holding Mjolnir. What's interesting in the fight choreography is that everything is kept consistent in terms of the fighters that are involved. I've already done an in-depth fighting styles analysis on each of the characters in this fight. Whether you would like to learn about Thor's Nordic fighting style of Glima, Iron Man's projectile-based combat, or Captain America's theatrical kicking style, or even Thanos' efficient and brutal fighting style, it's all explained with plenty of detail in the videos I've linked in the description below. In any case, how does that all come together for this final showdown? The fight starts off with our three heroes using their weapons, and Thanos quickly addressing them. Thanos deflects Iron Man's attack as well as Captain America's shield toss, and even slaps away Thor's hammer. As Iron Man relocates to a more tactical location for an upcoming attack, Thanos quickly bats Captain America out of the way while simultaneously dodging Thor's swing to his head. After this, he executes the most powerful move in the entire world, the galaxy, the cosmos, and that is the... A barely there tiny head dodge manages to completely avoid Iron Man's beam from afar, and once Iron Man's finally got a lock on him, Thanos uses his dual-bladed weapon to deflect the attack in various directions, ending this short but pretty awesome segment of the fight. When we return, this is more than anything presentation fighting, and if you'd like to learn more about presentation fighting, please see one of my earliest fight scene breakdowns, the fight between Batman and Superman in the appropriately titled movie Batman vs Superman. In any case, Thor charges up his weapons, shocks Iron Man for more power, an excellent callback to the first Avengers, and Iron Man blasts his beams towards Thanos, who once again uses his dual-bladed weapon to deflect them. Thor then hits his hammer with his axe. Unfortunately, Thanos picks up Iron Man, and it flies right into him, immediately taking Iron Man out of the fight. Captain America then jumps into the fight with a variation of the backflip kick, also known as a flash kick. This high-flying technique is usually reserved for demos, Although the technique is typically executed with only one kicking leg, in Captain America's variation, he executes the backflip, kicks once, then uses his other foot as a conveniently placed pseudo second kick. He doesn't extend the second leg like in this demo, but more than anything uses gravity on his side to land an extra hit, as you can distinctly hear 2 impact sounds in the fight. This was a great callback to his final technique with Batroc back in Winter Soldier. But this attack did basically nothing to Thanos, and he responds with a quick punch to his shield, sending Captain America tumbling several feet backwards. Thor soon finds himself in a weapon tussle with Thanos, and although he successfully pulls his weapon away, it really doesn't matter much, as Thanos redirects his axe, disarms it, and proceeds to punch and slam him around until Thor is pinned down with his own axe. Up next is a moment everyone remembers, and that's when Captain America finally wields Thor's hammer. Thanos doesn't waste a moment to execute another push kick and heads to confront Captain America. After a couple fancy hammer and shield moves, Captain America jumps in with a flying knee, a great callback to the same move he did on the Winter Soldier. He follows this up with excellent techniques using Mjolnir and his shield, culminating in powerful thunder attacks that send Thanos to the ground. But alas, Captain America's seemingly impending victory is cut short as Thanos dodges Cap's attack, regains his footing, and executes a pro wrestling inspired choke slam, harkening back to his theatricality displayed with Hulk. Thanos then wounds Cap, punches him, causing him to drop Mjolnir, and proceeds to bludgeon his shield with his dual blade, breaking it in the process. What's pretty unique about this fight is that our heroes collectively failed. They were not enough to stop Thanos. Again. Previously, Iron Man and Spider-Man might have succeeded in disarming Thanos of his gauntlet had Star-Lord kept his cool, but this time it was an indisputable fact. Thanos decisively won this fight. Iron Man's projectile attacks weren't enough, Thor's incredible power wasn't enough, and Captain America's fighting skills weren't enough. They were all trounced by Thanos. At every step of the way, he was able to more successfully dodge, defend, and counterattack than they could. And it makes sense. They weren't dealing with a Thanos trying to make a better world like last time. They were dealing with a Thanos with a vengeful mindset, one who wanted to literally end everything. But, as we all know, although Thanos may have won the battle, he definitely lost the war. If you enjoyed this analysis, I highly recommend checking out my other fight scene breakdowns. I've already analyzed several major fight scenes in the MCU, including the incredible fights in Captain America Civil War. What did you think of the fight? Let me know in the comments below, and feel free to give suggestions for another fight scene breakdown. Subscribe for more awesome content, and see you next time. I'd like to thank each one of my Patreon members as their contribution helped in the making of this video. If you'd like to contribute and appear in the credits in the future, my Patreon page is Godzillarex, and it's in the description below.